All right, everybody, let's kick this off. Hang in there. Okay, everybody, we are live. So, welcome. This is Synergy Solutions. I'm Dr. Kevin Jarina. We have a few other doctors joining us today. And if any guests pop on that are in the Synergy group live, they'll be showing up as well. How's everybody doing today? It's a lovely Wednesday. It's how we doing? How we doing?
Well,
It's a Wednesday. It's September 9th, and for anyone who's watching, we talk about things that affect us internally and things that affect us externally. And we're going to dive a little deeper today about some of the systems inside of our body. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then step two is we'll go into the actual remote quantum healing. We use primarily here a technique called KST. And if you want to know more about that, please leave a private message. I can hear you. Hopefully you can hear me. The chat is up. And good. We have a comment already. Great. I think we can hear you. So, Jeannie, thank you for letting me know. And we have Dr. Vesna, Dr. Sasha, Dr. George on. And let's dive in. So, Dr. George, we're talking about spleen today. The spleen today. And I have a couple slides I'm going to show everybody about how the spleen has different interconnections, of course, with the central nervous system, our brain. But there's also connections with the acupuncture system known as a meridian. And then there's things with different muscles that correlate with the organ itself, as well as the part of the spine that it connects to. So I'll show that map here in a minute. And you can see behind me, I love imagery. I love pictures. I think pictures speak way more than 1,000 words. But with that being said, when you hear spleen, and Vesna and Sasha, the same question to you. When you hear the word spleen, what comes to mind? What's important? What does it come? What do you think about when it comes to the brain and the body and the nervous system, and how the spleen connects and what the spleen needs? George, I'll put you on the spot first today.
okay. The first thing that pops up when you say spleen is a story I heard years ago. Somebody had gone to a healer, and they finally figured out the problem. And the person came back a week later, and the practitioner said, "You've been yelling at your spleen, haven't you?" Like, yeah, you said that was my whole problem. And so I was like angry. It's like, no, you misunderstood. Like, your spleen's been taking orders the whole time. It was you that was giving it bad information. Go home and apologize to your spleen. That's the first thing I thought. And it has something to do with the immune system for a while, but that's about all I got with that.
Well, so immune system health. That's yeah. But it's very very poignant point where we're talking. If you talk bad to our body parts, there is an effect, and there is something going on with that. So be kind to yourself. I implore you. Dr. Sasha, tell us when you hear spleen, what comes to mind for you?
I think there's a saying about, is it something like venting your spleen or something?
Yes, that's the one.
Is it?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking the same as George. It has something to do with anger, the emotion of anger. Yeah?
Well, there is some things there, and I don't have that list in front of me. We've talked about, in fact, we've shown the chart. And I just asked the audience, what do you think about the spleen? What comes to mind when you hear a word spleen? So we'll get the audience to get the comment here back. But there's all these fun analogies and interesting spleen. We'll talk about emotions and questions we can ask ourselves. But I don't know if anger. To me, liver has a lot more anger associated with it. I remember watching. There's Chitty. Is it Chitty Chitty Bang Bang? No, not Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. But one of those movies like that. And the person was getting angry, and they talked about a liver complaint being the cause of their anger. However, I digress here. But there is sayings and things like that go with the liver. And spleen. Vesna, what comes to mind for you?
More in practical terms, I think when muscle testing, as far as I remember, latissimus dorsi is related to spleen, and I think with blood.
Yeah, cleaning the blood, purifying things. I know it has a lot to do with the immune system function, different minerals and the essential, they're called trace minerals and organic minerals and inorganic minerals. How I think we need the organic ones, of course, but how they're used and which ones feed and nourish our spleen. So let me show you what I have prepared here, and see if I can pull that right up. Give me a second while I make the shift. And I'm going to bring this over here. I got to make sure everyone can see it just right. And people at home, you might get a little different view. I apologize. Do it that way. That works. All right. So here we are. We're zoomed in on the spleen. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
All right. So here we are. This is a book called Touch for Health. It's a public version of Applied Kinesiology. So let me give 100% credit to those guys. They put an amazing a book together. And I took a few snapshots out of the book to demonstrate a few things. So here is a point in the meridian system where it goes up towards the chest, down towards the midline. And this is where the acupuncturist feels the energy flow. They put needles along these different points. And here goes down the leg and into the big toe. And I don't show that part of the picture. This is where it starts to get interesting. I'm going to fast forward here to this next slide right here. And yes, latissimus dorsi right there. Thank you, Dr. Vesna. Good remembrance. And we also have I believe it's the lower trapezius, the mid and lower portion of the trapezius. And we have the triceps, and then also the muscle in the hand that controls the thumb, the opponens pollicis longus, for those people that are into anatomy. All right. So this is really the slide I want to show everybody right here. Let me see if I can get that better centered. It shows the different connections to the spinal segment, T7 and T8, and T5 and T6. So when there's a kickback in the meridian system, or there's interference in the central nervous system, it shows up at T5, T6, T7, T8 zone. And so here's what happened to me, is when I was working with people that would see acupuncturists as well, after their adjustment, they would have a better or more effective meridian or acupuncture session. And it's like the circuit breaker. I look at the spine like a circuit breaker in many ways, where if there is something where all the energy comes in and out of the system from the central nervous system, in and out to the rest of the body, that's like, for lack of a better way of saying it, that's like the major choke point. That's the point where everything has to go in and out. And so, yes, acupuncture works and it has a great effect for people, and it can affect the organ, it affects muscles, and can affect the spine. However, when the spine can't move and self-correct, that's where people like myself, the other chiropractors on the call, physically can have an effect on all the systems of the muscles, the meridians. And so sometimes maintenance is needed in both systems, I've found. But nonetheless, there's a key component to the spine itself. And the beautiful thing is, Dr. George, please. Yes.
So many years ago, I took about 90 hours of training in acupuncture for chiropractors. Used a teishin and an electroacupuncture device. One of the things the instructor said stuck with me, and it took me years to figure out what he meant. He said that ultimately the acupuncture meridians are subservient to the chiropractic adjustment. And so after a lot of thought, I came up with a possible answer. It's that acupuncture meridians, you can balance the energy that's in the body, and that's an important thing to do. And chiropractic seems to connect us more fully with that source of life energy. And that's a fundamental difference. And of course, the physical nervous system is the link between the physical body and the non-physical body.
Right.
So that's kind of, makes chiropractic stand out above other things. So.
Well, absolutely. And, the analogy or the statement is structure equals function. Structure equals function. So, for example, in a car, right? I could have my tires perfectly full of air, but if the axle's tilted, the tires are going to wear down in different ways than they were optimally built for. And so this is where, yes, chiropractic's got a great name for solving some back pain and headaches and sciatica and things, but really what we're working on is the structure alignment to allow the nervous system to function normally, to function optimally. Would you agree with that, Vesna and Dr. Sasha?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The two systems are very they're very synergistic, for want of a better word.
Yeah.
They sorry about that.
Hey, but it's the truth. That's why the name is Synergy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, absolutely. No, I've been working in an acupuncture clinic for 25 years, and when they refer across, and the clients have some chiropractic, they then go back to their acupuncture, and it works completely differently. But I wouldn't know one meridian from another. You know, it has an indirect effect on the meridians.
Well, you know, what really got me started into learning about the meridians was KST. What was really intriguing was I'd find a spot on the body to work on, and I'd be like, how could this possibly affect that over there? And I really started to dig around at different systems of, well, how does the body heal from, an acupuncture's point of view, or a Reiki, or massage, or what's the foot? Excuse me, reflexology, and different palm reading, and iridology and iridology. Where do all these systems come about? And they're looking at this constant interconnection and weaving web of what it is to be a human. And I just happened to lay system on top of system, like an old anatomy book that had translucent paper, and you could put the systems on top of each other and see how it all layered. Well, I just kept finding more material, and they kept on layering on top of each other, and they kept matching. That's what was very intriguing. From American Indian healing systems to Chinese medicine to the Japanese and to different things in the Eskimo and you know, all over the world, South America, all over the world. It's like the map keeps reaffirming itself, reconfirming itself. But sometimes the interference is in one system, and then the next step would be in a different system, and then the third step would be in another system yet. And that's the beauty of KST. It allowed me to go from different systems of analysis and I guess application of healing. So then a more complete result in each of the sessions people would come in to restructure, rejuvenate, rebuild their life, essentially. But then that's when all the weird, I'll be mindful of my words, the very intriguing and very interesting world of all the energy work. Because I got a lot more yeses on things that were, I would say, well, a higher priority. You know, in the, what's it called in the nervous system? You have the upper motor neurons. And if a problem shows up in a certain, think of like, boy, I'm going to bring everybody back to the orthopedic testing now. If a nerve is not working, you can find out if it's local nerve or if it's in the spine or if it's in the brain based on different tests. Who remembers upper motor neuron lesions and lower motor neuron lesions? Those terms.
Yes, I remember terminology. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I'm getting down to a little nerdville today, but
Okay.
well, you know, how do I say this? Well, I guess some of the people I used to listen to all the time is like, if you don't know the anatomy, how do you know what to adjust or something like that? Yeah, something like that. So that's the beauty of also KST. Maybe learn anatomy again, because I wanted to get more and more specific with my adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So let's dive in. Let's shift gears, everybody. Thank you for indulging my spleen conversation today. And so part of why I'm talking about the spleen is weekly I'm reviewing it for myself. I'm also sending out emails about different parts so people can start to connect dots between what chiropractic is, what it is that we're doing here, and how it can affect people's health in positive ways, and how that actually connects dots. It's like I have something I want help with. and when you guys have distance healing. Like, how does that even compute? So that's for us on the call. We've already traversed that those dominoes of understanding, and now I believe it's important for people that want help to find out how this actually works, and it's legitimate. So let's move forward then. How we doing over there? Everybody ready?
Yes.
All right. So this is the part where we start to go over intention, because intention has a direct input into how our life is playing out. Dr. George got the surrogate.
Yeah, I got a new one.
A new surrogate. I got my spine right over there. I had to pull my spine out, and then once we have our intentions, we're going to go into with the remote healing, and that's for the private members at this point. So I'm going to close down the live stream. We're going to go to the private members area. They have a link to join live, so do that now if you are attending. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And until next Wednesday, we'll continue to give you more information about how the body works, about what we're doing here, the remote quantum work, the KST work, how that can help you. And if you'd like some free sessions, there's an offer for 3 free downloads. Go to synergysolutionsessions.com. I'll drop that link. I have it right here. And you can go right there and get those free downloads. Experience it for yourself. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. All right, just a second over there.